Serious.
Oh, wow. I am serious.
Hey guys!
Are we live?
We're live.
We're live?
Here.
Mine still says waiting here.
It still says waiting.
Maybe there's a delay or something.
It's possible.
Let us know.
Oh, here it comes. All right, I see you
We're
guys.
up and running.
Pressure's on.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing is live. It makes me nervous.
It's
Hey
all
guys, I'm Danica with GC Woodworks, and this is Andrew with Exit Realty. We are going to answer your renovation, carpentry,
good. And real estate questions.
pretty well anything that you want to fire at us. You can do that in the comments. I have 26 questions that we're going to talk about during the live, but like I said, you can put them down below. And Mark, our videographer in the back, say what's up, Mark.
What's up?
He's going to shout them out for us. And we are sponsored by Craftsman Tools for this live. We're going to be doing a $750 giveaway, but we're splitting it into three because we figured 3 winners is better than one. So
Unless you're the winner of the one.
unless you're the winner of the one, but then it wouldn't be as fair. All right. So we're just gonna go in it.
We're diving in.
We're diving right in. If you had to choose one renovation to boost your home for its selling potential, what would it be?
Starting off with me, I like that.
Go for it.
Thank you.
I already spoke enough.
Yeah, so one renovation I think that is good for your home in terms of value-wise would be kitchens and bathrooms are really good. I'll let Danica talk about some of the kind of lower budget items that can really help. We talk about it all the time.
I love budget.
Yeah. And there's a lot of little things you can do to your house to raise the value without doing a substantial renovation, like a kitchen or a bathroom or exterior renovations. So yeah, what are some DIY things that you think are good to increase the value of your home?
I think it's very underrated, but paint can go a long way. Your trim, your walls, your cupboards, pretty well anything. If you paint everything light and bright and airy, a lot of families coming in can see themselves in the home. As well as, like we talked about before, some of the older homes have like the brass gold handles. Updating those out to black. Any hinges, they're like $4.
Yeah.
That can make a huge difference.
Definitely painting out old wood trim to make it white is good, and lighting is a
Yeah.
really cheap and super effective way to modernize your home as well.
Totally. Also, guys, for the contest, please make sure that you are commenting your full name and where you are from, and that's how you will be entered because they are in the background keeping track of everybody who's trying to win this. Outside of the HRM, is natural gas a thing? And if not, what is the most cost effective?
I
I have no idea.
love how you're starting with 2 questions with me, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'm taking the questions after this. So, natural gas in Nova Scotia outside of HRM, to my understanding, is not a thing, but I might be wrong on that. I work specifically within HRM, so realistically, I really just know that market the most. But within HRM, natural gas is definitely a cost-effective way to heat your home. But in terms of heating your home, there's a lot of variables that kind of add up to that. So in terms of the windows, the insulation, the heating system itself with the age of the home. So what you could do is you can get Efficiency Nova Scotia to come in and they can do like an audit of your home and they can tell you a lot of different ways of how to increase the energy efficiency of your home.
Like aero barrier. So I installed aero barrier at the reno that we're doing now, which was a really cool experience. They put the house under negative pressure
Yes.
and they basically blow in this polyacrylic dust in the air and all of the little holes end up getting sealed. And I'm on the same street. My house is the same age and I basically need to wear a toque to bed. And that home is so airtight, it's crazy.
It was super cool talking to him.
It was
actually.
really neat, yeah. So that's a really good one as well. What was the biggest obstacle at Taranaki? I think the fact that I thought I knew what I was doing flipping homes and I thought I had a budget and I thought I had a plan, but that's not the case. So many obstacles. I don't think I'm ever going to be fully ready for a flip because you come up with different things
Yes.
every single time. So I think basically wearing the white hat during all of it and having plumbing, electrical, everybody in at the same time, figuring out who needs to go first, who needs this sub tray done before that one's finished, So it's a lot.
I think something I've noticed a lot between this flip that Danika's doing now on Poplar versus the Taranaki flip, now that it's our second go around, this one's a lot smoother project management wise, which is kind of what you just said about wearing every hat when you're doing everything. And I feel like this one, logistically speaking, was a lot smoother project management wise.
Yeah, I felt really prepared. I was like, okay, I've got one under the belt. I'm excited for 3, 4 because it's just gonna get better.
Yeah.
Painting our cabinets. I've seen people seal them with floor sealer. Is this necessary? Absolutely not. I know that a lot of people do that, potentially if you're staining them, but if you have a proper paint in a melamine finish, you will not need to do that. How has the fire market impacted the flip biz?
So, I mean, flipping houses right now is great when you're going to sell them after the flip is complete. I'd say, how has the fire market affected the flipping business? It's a lot harder to get something initially at a price that still makes sense to flip it down the road. So in other words, what you're buying it for, plus all your money in and your time and your labor, what's it going to sell for on the other end? So a lot of the houses that still need work in terms of cosmetic and whatnot, they're still selling for a pretty good price in this market. So it's making it tougher and tougher on the other end. But if you do find those opportunities early, then you can really do really well on the other end with it. Even since we've started this Poplar flip, the difference of price that we think we're going to get on the other end when she goes to list it in a couple of weeks, it's definitely a lot different than it was back in November when she bought the home. And the market is changing very quickly, almost weekly the market is changing.
It's awesome on this end of it. I say that and I get super excited, but to think about buying a third flip, I don't know.
That's the tough part.
That's the tough part, because you spend 50 on one end to get it, or you make 50, but you have to spend 70 to get the next one, so it's crazy. I think my best advice for somebody wanting to get into flips is to buy a fixer-upper that you're going to live in, so you can eat the cost, you can do everything sort of in a lot slower process. That's what I did. I fully renovated my bungalow before jumping into Taranaki, so technically that was my first. But it took me 5 years.
Okay, so sorry to cut you off there, but there's a live question from Shannon Salter, and it's for Andrew.
Oh God.
And it says, what is one piece of advice for current first-time home buyers in this market? ?
Double exclamation mark. So
From Mark.
yeah, so I would say, honestly, my biggest piece of advice to buyers right now is just make sure your expectations are in line with what the market really is. So sit down with your agent and talk to them about, what's it going to look like. So a lot of times on the buyer end right now, you're missing out on a home or two, sometimes as many as 8 or 10 in multiple offer situations by getting outbid. So just having your expectations accurate from the get-go, and then also staying positive throughout the process. It's super frustrating for buyers right now, and it can be really devastating at times, but oftentimes when I have buyers that miss out on a particular property that they thought was the one, in 3 months from then they find one that's even better, and that's the one that they're really, really happy with. So it always works out in the end is kind of what I would say.
Yeah, what's meant to be will be.
Yes, and you missed out on some flips, like some potential flips before we got Poplar and before we got Taranaki.
Before Taranaki, we put in 3 other offers.
Yeah, like we picked Taranaki because we got an accepted offer on Taranaki.
Yeah.
That's the
like
thing.
this golden house. No, it's because they finally said yes.
Yes.
When renos change the footprint of your home, who do you turn to? Civil engineer, ? I think any engineer can help you out, as well as home inspectors. Basically, both times we went in with the home inspector, we asked them to allow us into the attic and see whether the trusses are engineered or not. So if the trusses are engineered, the perimeter of your home is what holds the weight of your roof. If they're not engineered, picture 2 small triangles coming together, and down the center of your home is going to be a load-bearing wall that you're not able to take out. So if you're changing the footprint, your home inspector can pretty well give you a good indication of what walls can come out and what can't. Just starting out with DIYs and what tools.
Hold up. You said kitchen and bathroom are good rooms to update, but if you had to choose only one, where would you focus?
If you had the budget for it, kitchen.
I was gonna say kitchen.
Kitchen is the heart of the home, and we're on the East Coast, so we love the kitchen party. I would say the kitchen is the best reno you could do for your house, more than likely, depending on the overall scope of the property.
Yeah.
Okay. Jenna Burns says, been loving following along since before the first flip.
Thanks, Jenna.
What would be both of your suggestions to increase your home's value? We said that already, right? Come on.
Mark is blunt.
Jenna was late getting on, and that's okay.
Kitchen, bathroom.
Kitchen and bathroom would be the two biggest things, I think. Paint, lighting, smaller updates like that make a huge difference as well.
Yeah, like you'd be shocked to see what painted white trim you think your trim is white until you go to put a fresh coat on.
Yeah.
It looks so much bigger, so
Definitely.
much brighter. And decluttering. That's something you can do for zero cost. Putting half your crap away so that when people walk into your house, they don't see all of your junk. And they can envision their junk in your house.
Malia's in here. She said, hey mom, are you buying another house?
Hi baby! I'm glad you're watching. We are going to talk about what we're doing next, potentially later on. No other houses for now.
And Erin Guthrow is back, and she says, also wondering if landscaping is a good place to put your money when flipping a home.
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
Especially in your curb appeal.
Yeah. I agree.
It's like 20%, like, I don't know, studies show, or what I've Googled, it's a huge chunk of the value of your home is the curb appeal.
Definitely, and you have, especially in a hot market, like you really want to make a really good first impression as somebody's coming up to view the home. So I think that landscaping is great, depending on how far you're going to go with it for sure.
Just starting out with DIYs, and what tool would you recommend to buy first?
A hammer.
That's a good one. I was gonna say a drill
A hammer.
because you can change out your doorknobs and your cabinet pulls, stuff like that, with a drill. But I definitely think a sander and a jigsaw are not far behind. Jigsaw is a very easy saw to learn on.
I have none of those.
You got a drill set though. Nicole got you a drill set for
Yeah,
Christmas.
I have a drill set now.
I helped her out with that one. All right. I want to list my home, but how can I avoid being left without one on the buying side?
Oh man, that's a brain buster right now. So I think the toughest part of this kind of market that we're seeing in Halifax is the logistics of selling a home and then buying one on the other end. In terms of avoiding kind of being stuck, it's really tough. It's really case by case dependent. Like, if you can afford to get a financial approval on the other end.
If it wasn't live, we could edit that.
Yeah, I love that we're live. Yeah, so if you can get a financial approval on the other end without selling your house, that might be a good route for you if you know your house is going to sell over the span of a weekend, especially if it's like in a hot market. If you don't have that, you could list, and a lot of times now buyers, because it's so hard to get into houses, they're willing to take a really long closing. To give you an example, I wrote an offer the other day, and the closing was set for August. So that gave a really long time for those sellers to get out of their house, and the buyer that I was working with is renting month to month, so they had no problem waiting till August. They were just happy to have the potential to get the home secured, and they were okay waiting. So there are kind of some strategies in place, and it's really case by case dependent that you should discuss with your specific realtor.
So a lot of times people think a quicker close date helps a sale. You're saying
sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Every case is different, and it's very dependent on what you own now and what you're looking to buy and what your budget is on the other end as well, and how healthy your budget is for the area you're looking in.
Did you profit from Taranaki what you wanted? I did. We profited more because, again, like with Poplar, it just sort of rose with all the finishes that went into it. We saw the scope of what I was actually doing to the property. It wasn't just paint and floors. It was like an entire gut. All of it. You can watch those episodes. But as any entrepreneur does, it just gets dumped back into business.
And this question is from Marm Bruisable. How accurate was, this is kind of like that, but how accurate was your initial renovation budget for both of your flip properties? were there any major surprises that could have blown the budget?
I have blown the budget both times. I've probably gone almost double, which I now think I just need to rebudget going forward. Just because you don't think about little things like all the door handles that add up, all of the updated light switches, like all those little things add up to hundreds of dollars. I initially budgeted, okay, $4,000 for floor, $2,000 for trim, $500 for paint, but I didn't take into consideration everything you need to make all of those come to life.
Yeah.
So there's thousands of dollars in small things that you really don't think about. I didn't think about. Even now, I just had to go spend, it was like $200 in just like plate covers and like caulking and all that stuff, and it's like, that's $200. So yeah, I definitely over budget.
A lot of times, even if you do think about the little things, you're kind of like, oh, that's just $100 here and $100 there, and you think it's not adding up. But over the span of a 4-month flip, it ends up being $5,000 or $8,000, and it does dent your bottom line at the end of the flip.
Yeah. But I also thought I wanted Taranaki and Poplar to be not an average flip. Like, I want it to have such a wow factor that people are blown away versus just going in and doing the bare minimum. So I'm okay with that, especially because we're filming it, and I really want to give you guys like super cool ideas to look and do for your own home. So I'm okay going over budget.
And the market's increasing in a hurry.
All right. So Heidi Darling says, planning to update our small bathroom. Would you recommend glass doors or a shower curtain for a tub/shower?
Glass door.
I did a
I'll
glass.
answer it.
Yeah, I did a glass door in Taranaki's basement, and I didn't realize how much I loved them.
And honestly, they're not nearly as expensive as you think they would be. They're not cheap, but they're not like, they're not $5,000 or anything.
And it feels
like that.
really fancy.
Yeah.
Totally do that.
I guess she means with a tub though.
You can still do them, yeah.
Okay.
And then on top of that, it makes the room feel a lot bigger too when you have the glass.
They have
glass door.
glass ones at Kent that have the black track.
Yeah.
So it looks like a barn door. They're really nice.
Everybody's saying that Demo Dad is the best now in the comments.
Yes.
He's seems to be the favorite character.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Demo Dad should have merch? Because, well, he's not retired actually. He just got another job. I'll tell you about that later.
Nice.
But I've been telling him he needs merch. I got a Demo Dad shirt for him made last Father's Day, and people have seen him wearing it, and they're like, "Where can I get one?" We totally need to brand Demo Dad.
I love it.
Yeah, everyone is saying hell yes. I mean, yeah.
It's awesome.
When you see it in person, it's really, it's like watching Cirque du Soleil. It's beautiful.
Alyssa Humber says that we need to be on HGTV.
Yeah, tag HGTV in every
Tell them.
post we do. Tell them. Tell them we're.
HGTV Canada tags every episode release. Just blow their notifications up.
Believe me, I do. So I need you guys to do that too. Will you be doing a third right after Poplar? I don't think so. I have a really cool plan. Do you think I should tell them my plan?
May
Not
as well.
really.
Okay. I
Depends
have
which one.
the like.
You could.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Okay.
Just tell them the plan. They're diehard fans in here.
I am buying a 20-foot long utility trailer, and I'm basically going to build a tiny home on it. That's gonna sleep 5. It's gonna have like secret bunks and super cool storage. Gonna have it cladded in metal. I get hyped up when I talk about it. I'm so pumped. Gonna hopefully have Velux sun tunnels and solar panels so that if somebody wants to take it off-roading, please don't take my trailer off-roading, backwoods camping, like off-grid, then you're able to still charge your phone, still make coffee, because I want to rent it out. I want to use it, but I also want you guys to use it. It's going to be so nice. And I'm hoping to graffiti the side of it. I think it'll be super cool.
I'm into it.
I envision this like octopus, like wrapped around it, sort of like holding it, and then when it's driving by, people are going to be like, what is that?
These are the ideas that she just texts me all day long, every day. My phone blows up with these ideas, like an octopus wrapping around a tiny home. Like, okay, great.
But how cool is that?
That's such a good idea.
Yes.
Super cool. And then anybody with a trailer hitch can rent it as like an Airbnb and then go off-roading with my octopus.
I dig it.
So that is my next plan.
Emily McDonald says, how difficult was it to refinish the hardwood, and would you consider that a DIY project, or would you invest in having a professional do it? Well, Danica considers the moon landing DIY.
Mark, do you think it's DIY?
No.
Mark always makes fun of me and he's like, I love what you consider DIY. I think DIY is if you're comfortable with using these tools, you can DIY what I'm doing. If you're not comfortable using tools and you're just not comfortable with power tools, I would probably not make that your first project. If you're comfortable with tools and you've used sanders before, it's literally just a bigger version. So I think you got this. And if all else fails and you can't do it, just hire somebody afterwards and you'll learn something.
Alright, so there's like this question is probably for Andrew. Could you talk about the pros and cons of a rental versus flipping a house? So I'm assuming it's like real estate investing, like buying something and then as a rental, or flipping a house, and what the pros and cons of each would be.
For sure. So I guess pros of a flip are you're getting, you're turning your investment around quickly and you're pulling cash back out. So then you have liquid cash to do other investments or whatever else you want to do with the cash. Holding a rental long term is kind of more of a long term play. So to give you an example, I have a triplex that I fully renovated. Once I renovated it, I refinanced it. So I pulled my money back out and now I have that cash available for another investment, albeit in this market it's not that easy. I like the idea of keeping rentals long term, but I also like the mix of flips as well. So I kind of, if you're somebody who invests in real estate often, then I would say it's nice to have a good mix of short and long term investments personally.
Yeah, I've toyed with the idea of keeping one of these as a rental, and I'm not financially set up to wait. When I'm done the house, I need the money, and then hopefully in a couple houses from now, I'll be able to hold one and then still have money to put into another one. So I feel like it's totally financial.
So this one is probably but for Andrew maybe, but maybe both you could give your opinion on it. But do you think the market will do a correction sooner or later? And if later, how late? Ha 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 ha, in parentheses.
2045.
Yeah. I think that, so based on where the market's at right now, really what's happened is with the really low inventory level, that's what's driving this market. So we would need so many listings to hit the market all at once to correct this. So it's going to take, I think, quite some time to correct. There's a lot of variables that go into kind of getting to a market like this, and COVID kind of escalated that. But I think personally that I will be sitting in this room this time next year having this kind of same discussion, and it might go back towards a balanced market a little bit, but I think it's going to remain relatively tough for sellers for probably another year minimum, and I think longer than that.
And on that topic, can you explain to them, because I know that question, I read it is in here.
Oh, listing inventory.
Yeah, I never understood what that was when you said we only have a month of inventory. I was like, what the heck does
Yeah,
that mean?
so listing inventory is just kind of a stat that we use as realtors, and basically listing inventory means if I have a month of listing inventory on the market in HRM, that means that if we as realtors stop listing houses tomorrow based on the rate that listings are selling in HRM, we would be totally out of listings in a month. So to give you an idea, anything from 4 to 6 months of inventory would be considered like a balanced market. Anything 6 or more would be considered a seller's or a buyer's market, because there's so much inventory and not enough buyers. And anything less than 3 or 4 months would be considered a seller's market. So right now we have less than a month of inventory, which is very low. So we have a seller's market. To give you an idea, when I started selling real estate, it was July 2014. We had about 16 or 14 months of inventory on the market. So it's really pulled a 180 in a short amount of time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
What kind of railings would you suggest to upgrade a patio for a DIYer?
Nice.
Glass. People always think, so I just did the interior glass as well as a Taranaki, I did the exterior. It's actually easier, in my opinion, to install a glass railing anyway. When you buy the exterior ones, it's such an easy step-by-step tutorial of how to cut it, where to cut it, with what, how to install the glass. people often think it's like super fancy. It looks wonderful, but if you think about all the spindles that you have to make sure they're level and plumb and they're spaced evenly, that's way more work. Will you ever flip with somebody, and can I job shadow you? I get this question so much, and eventually when the kids are older and I'm not needed away from the reno so much, I would love to take on people, especially women who want to learn and just want to DIY, and then I can have help. But as Andrew knows, there's times I'm like, oh, I can't make it today because kids, or I can't do this because kids. Like, I'm constantly all over the place. I can't set a schedule with anybody, but eventually I would like to help you guys.
You would be good at it too. I can vouch for that. She helped me build a deck after the Taranaki flip, and she's a good
Andrew's
teacher.
deck buildings starting 2021.
Yeah, Andrew's Deck Building Company Limited.
Build versus buy.
Well, so there's small budget and big dreams. What are your favorite up and coming neighborhoods in HRM?
Nice.
Oh, that's a question for you, because I feel like I'm
Nice.
Dartmouth to the core.
North Dartmouth.
North End Dartmouth.
Yeah, like downtown Dartmouth, North End Dartmouth. I love Fairview personally. Spryfield is very up and coming. To be honest, all those outskirt kind of communities are very up and coming. I feel like as the density on the peninsula and downtown Dartmouth increases, it's just going to kind of mushroom out from there.
This one's for Danica. Talking kitchen, bathroom renos, what are your top tips for painting the cabinets?
White paint. Let's go.
White is, I did the white, and white is beautiful, but clearly, if I'm thinking about an octopus being wrapped around a tiny home, white is generic for me. But anyway, use TSP to clean them super well, and believe it or not, once you use that, you do not have to sand them. And I use bin 123 in the red can. The can says leave it for 8 hours. Don't do that. Leave it for 3 days. Sometimes 2 days later, I'm still able to scratch it off. By day 3, it's like a rock. I swear you could prime water with bin 123. Red can, not blue.
Is the addition
Not sponsored. I just love bin.
Is the addition of a garage worth the investment when flipping a property?
I would say depends largely on the area. So if you're in an area where most houses don't have garages, it could be seen as a positive, but it also might be something that most people looking in that area don't necessarily need or want. But say you're flipping a property that's a little bit more rural and you have a bigger lot, and out in that area, a double detached garage is like a huge selling feature, then I would say definitely. So I think it really depends. A lot of people like garages, and they come in handy for a lot of different people.
And I feel like it would depend on what's happening inside too.
Yeah,
If your
definitely.
house needs work on the inside, I'd probably focus there first.
Yeah.
Build versus buy, and why? That's you.
Me?
Mhm.
Oh man.
Building right now?
Building right now is really tough, but I mean, buying is too. So if you're buying residential resale, it's tough. You're going to be in multiple offer situations. If you're buying a new build, you might avoid some of the competing offer situations, but new build timelines right now are looking around 9 to 11 months, which is typically about 4.5 to 5.5 months to give you an idea. So that's due to material shortage. It's due to
These lives are great.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. It's due to that. It's due to kind of a shortage of trades, and everybody's really busy. The construction industry is booming here. So to give you an idea, I wrote a couple offers in January that closed in December, and they were new builds, starting from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah. But
And
they didn't have to compete on a home, and on top of that,
that's true.
the house they bought in January at say $550 or $450 is now worth $50,000 more by the time we close in December. So it is a nice way to build equity. I think that a lot of new developments are a really nice way to build equity.
Yeah.
Oh, were you gonna comment on that, or there's another question?
That's fine, go for it.
All right. We Natalie Nymark says we have hardwood
Natalie.
in the main living area. What is best to replace the carpet in the bedroom, laminate or hardwood?
You're gonna answer that because you just did it.
Hardwood is going to be almost, if not more than twice the cost of laminate. I think hardwood is just the floor of all floors. So, but if your budget doesn't allow hardwood, laminate, as long as you get something that looks similar. I personally love one continual floor throughout the entire home, minus bathrooms. So I would say hardwood, but I also understand if your budget doesn't allow hardwood, because it can get really pricey.
And another
Just to get a
question
good
here:
one.
would you recommend someone handy to refinish the floors themselves?
Yes, absolutely. Watch my DIY video. And
What
don't
would
let anyone tell you that you can't use that sander.
what's your favorite piece of furniture to build?
Well, I actually miss building furniture so much.
I got a list.
I would say kitchen tables, because I've always envisioned like that's where all of your memories are made. That's where your kids gather, your family gathers, something you can pass down for years to come. So I think it's more so like the memory of I'm building this person, their memory maker.
Thanks for the kitchen table.
Okay, Brianna.
That's how we
Built
met.
Andrew's kitchen table. That's how we met.
That's how we met.
Brianna Allison has a question. This is probably for Andrew, and it's so difficult. And Andrew, if
Thanks,
you are
Brianna.
able to answer this question without pulling out your phone, I will bring pizza to the next shoot at the Reno
Let's
that
go.
you're at.
I will
I'm into
take her
it.
up on that. 'Cause I
Don't
love
forget the
pizza.
donaires.
Okay. Price difference for buy versus build. What is the price difference on average per square foot in HRM?
Whew. I would honestly, it's a guess. I would honestly say that a lot of resale houses now, with how far they're going over asking, are actually going to be more per square foot than building, believe it or not. But I might be off on that because the building prices are kind of high right now. But I'm going to say resale per square foot is more expensive.
All right.
Hot take.
Pizza.
I'll take it.
And I will confirm that for you tomorrow morning, Mark.
All right. Someone says, would you put hardwood in the kitchen?
I did. Yep. There was when we took out the wall at Poplar, it was the kitchen, and I put it right through. To me, I wouldn't put laminate in the kitchen, but I would put hardwood because, I mean, unless you're dumping buckets of water on it constantly, you're not gonna mess it up. Laminate will bubble.
And speaking more on updating the kitchen, would you paint oak cabinets?
Yes, I just did. Well, I didn't. Painting Express. Express Painting did. They're awesome. They will actually come in, take all of your doors, spray them, and then bring them back to you. I did the bases because I wanted to. They'll also do that as well, but if you want to save cost, you can do the bases and they'll bring back your doors because your doors are so high traffic.
And even if you pay somebody to do that, it's actually pretty cheap. Like for a standard kind of kitchen, like a couple $1,000s type of thing, $2 to $3 grand. And those oak cabinets are actually really high quality. They're just dated now, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you get it done professionally, especially, or if you get somebody who's really handy to do it, it can look really, really good. And then you can update your kitchen by, doing the oak cabinets, like painting them, and then with a new counter and new backsplash. Man, I can't believe we're live. With a new counter and backsplash and like a new sink and a tap, then it'll look like a whole new kitchen. It's awesome.
This Poplar kitchen is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's nice.
Don't forget to enter the giveaway. You just have to comment your full name and where you're watching from because it's only a Canadian giveaway. But if you're watching outside of Canada, I really appreciate it.
So someone's asking, like, can you talk about the pricing of express painting services? And this is another question from the same person right after that says, do you have to take up the baseboards to sand the hardwood floors?
If you're changing them, yes. The edger will get right up to it if you're leaving them. But it's actually really easy to take up baseboards. Just basically score the edge with an X-Acto knife and pop them off. The little nails will actually snap off in the back and then you can put them right back on.
In terms of the pricing, I can't speak directly for it, but I can say I've worked with them personally, not on a kitchen, but on other projects, and they've done kitchens for my clients, and they're great. I would say for like a standard size kitchen in like a typical, Sackville, Bedford, Halifax home, probably if you budget $3 grand to get the cabinets painted, it's probably
$2,500.
that's probably a good price.
Yeah. How many hours an episode is it to edit?
Oh dear.
What's up, Mark? And how many times do we ask you when's the episode going to be done?
It depends on the episode. Who asked that question?
I did. I wanted you to feel appreciated.
Oh, just so many, like so many.
Mark, we couldn't find Mark the next day after episode 2 because he'd been up for 28 hours or something crazy, just grinding at the mill.
Yeah,
we love Mark.
We love Mark.
We just want to get it on film that we love Mark.
Do you love us?
We love and appreciate Mark.
Yeah, go follow Maritime Videographic on IG.
There you go.
Okay, what's the best way to go about repairing corners in your home when the builder used rounded corner bead? I have no idea what that means.
Oh,
To
man.
repair? Are they...
Like to square it off.
Okay, if you're looking to square it off, we all know I hate drywall. I would call the professionals for that. If you're looking to just patch it, say you've nicked it up, you can just get like a regular mud compound and have patience. Sometimes it's going to take like 4 layers. Just keep putting it on and sanding it, putting it on and sanding it.
I would suggest taping and mudding. If you don't do it, you should get somebody else to do it.
And I'm really handy, and I don't do it.
It's not easy.
If the hole's not like this big, I'm not
It's an art.
filling it.
It's honestly an art. It's hard.
It's crazy. I did a wall in my basement, and it looks like stucco. And I tried really hard. I'm not good at it.
What are your thoughts on painting older stone fireplaces? Think 60s bungalow style, or should we just redo the fireplace
No,
completely?
painted. I
Paint it.
love them painted.
Yeah.
Especially like a dark charcoal black.
Yeah.
With like a raw wood mantle. Oh,
I did that
so
on Winter
nice.
Street and got the mantle. Yeah, so if you paint it and you get a mantle made for it, it can look really nice.
Yeah, and East Coast, especially hardwoods, will mill up your mantle. They can distress it. They can do pretty well anything. I think a lot of the times people think East Coast, this is a total plug, but I absolutely love them. Sarah's awesome. Basically, people think you can just buy your wood from them, but you can actually get them to make things. I've got them to turn legs for me. In a jam, I've got them to joint tabletops for me when I was too busy with other pieces of furniture. So they do a lot more than just milling up your lumber.
They do a lot of great things.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. They think you can just buy wood there, but you can actually get things made. They've got some really talented people.
Colleen Moore just commented she's age 61 and taking the carpentry program at Memorial
Sick.
High in Sydney
I
Mines.
love you!
Yes.
That's amazing!
So cool. So
That's
cool.
awesome. See, and I always say to help young women and but it's just women in general. I think it's amazing that you're doing that. That's some serious courage.
Yeah, love it.
Andrew, why is the market like this?
Everybody's hating on me. Like it's not like I don't control the market. Disclaimer: I don't control the market. Really, the biggest thing driving the market right now is the low inventory levels. There's a lot of reasons for that. We were headed towards the seller's market pre-COVID. When COVID happened in the spring last year, that's obviously, March, April, May is a hot time for sellers to put their house on the market. When that happened, a lot of people held off on listing their home because of all the uncertainty going on, and that's uncertainty with the pandemic in general, job, insecurity. Not really sure what it means health-wise at that point either. So a lot of people kind of held off, which really bottlenecked the market when the listings started coming on. So that kind of COVID escalated it, but the low inventory in general is definitely the biggest problem with the market right now. And we're seeing a lot of out-of-province buyers. So every time I list a home, I'm getting 4 or 5 calls from Ontario buyers, to give you an idea. A lot of people are moving back home, and a lot of people are just moving here. I actually just had clients not long ago.
Why do you think?
They want the East Coast lifestyle.
They want the kitchen party.
They want the kitchen
I don't
party.
blame them.
I had clients move here from Ontario earlier this year, and they were in Halifax like once or twice before, but they had never lived here. They packed up and left Ontario and came back here because they wanted a kind of more chill, more East Coast style living, which is awesome.
Plus, we have the most amount of bars per
Something like that.
something.
Yeah.
And
We have a lot of bars.
yeah, and you're actually allowed to go to them.
Yes.
There's a lot of places in Canada you can't.
Yes.
So.
Favorite tile trends at the moment from Tara Acker.
Hexagon. Oh. Remember this one?
Yeah.
So in the kitchen episode, trying to explain to Andrew what kind of tile it is, and it's a squished hexagon. So envision a hexagon, but it's squished. So it's like a subway tile, but it like peaks. It's a squished hexagon.
In the flip she's doing right now, every single tile in the place is hexagon to some degree.
We had that realization today. I was
Yeah.
like, oh no, does that matter? They're all different.
You need to
I feel
change
like
everything.
scratch it all. Yeah, hexagon or squished hexagons, whatever that real name is.
Someone says, we're remodeling. What would you recommend I do for a fun accent wall? The room will be white.
That's you.
My favorite accent wall is the Taranaki master bedroom.
I like that one.
It was just so unique.
Easy.
It's under $100 because it's like 7 pieces of baseboard, and then you just paint it. It's on my channel. Yeah, because I love shiplap, but that can get pricey because it's about $9 to $12 a board, and you need sometimes 15 boards. This is a very, very easy way to update a wall, and it looks so nice. I think so.
Someone just commented, that's my mom, so proud.
That's either Ari or Malia.
Alora Emily?
I don't know.
Hard to say.
Mystery.
Andrew, are you taking new clients?
Yes, so we're always taking new clients. I actually posted about this the other week because I kept having people call me and ask me that, or email me and ask me that. We are always taking new clients at Team Stevens. We just added another agent to our team, Chantel. She's awesome. She was actually a client of mine years ago before she got a real estate license. So we added her to the team. So it's myself, my father, Sterling, Chantel, and we have an administrator as well. And the reason we made those additions is because we're getting too busy to handle it. So now we can handle more. And yes, we're always taking new clients. So feel free to reach out anytime.
What's your favorite pizza place in Cole Harbor?
Me?
Kenny's.
Both, I
What'd you
guess.
say?
Kenny's.
I'm a Jesse's guy.
Jesse's is good. We had Jesse's pizza.
We had Jesse's Pizza today. Every Thursday we film, or every second Thursday we film at the flip she's doing now, and I bring pizza. That's my role.
Yeah, he didn't bring it last time.
Yeah.
Do you recommend
Let's scooch
removing?
over here.
Do you recommend removing popcorn/textured ceiling?
Hell yeah.
No.
What?
I couldn't move my shoulders and neck for a week.
Oh, you mean like them doing it?
Physically doing it. Yes, absolutely remove it. We also had this
Yeah.
discussion at Poplar because I was trying to leave the basement ceiling and Andrew wouldn't let me leave it.
No.
So, but removing a small section yourself is great if you don't have the budget to get someone to skim it over. I ended up nicking the ceiling so bad that I had to skim over so many parts of it anyway that it was kind of like I was going backwards.
Yeah.
Would
Could
you
have just skimmed it.
It's not easy to do.
would you ever paint a kitchen counter instead of replacing it?
I have seen that and I would love to try it. I painted my bathroom counter and it's held up. It's been there for 2.5 years and it's amazing. Bin 1, 2, 3 in the red can.
Get the right paint.
3 days. Wait for the bin to dry for 3 days. But I've painted my faucet and my countertop. It's in one of my bathroom videos. And yeah, it was 3 years ago. Doesn't even have a scratch in it.
Nice.
Women in trades, in your experience, is the barrier coming down? I definitely think we are in the right direction moving forward. I feel like our younger generation is just learning that it's more normal and it's not like this big deal that she chose to be a carpenter, she chose to be a plumber. So yeah, we're definitely moving in the right direction. We still have hurdles to get over, like most things in our world, but yeah, we're definitely in the right direction.
Yeah, okay, so the person that said, like, that was proud of their mom, that was like the daughter of the 61-year-old that went back to school to be a
Yeah.
carpenter.
Oh, nice! That's so
That's so
awesome.
great.
Yeah, I'm so proud of her. That's amazing.
So this has already been asked, but I guess it was like meant to be like specific to a first-time home buyer on a tight budget that was hoping to get into a home this year. What is your advice for that situation specifically, Andrew?
Definitely, it's tougher like in the lower budgets right now. I have a few buyers right now that are looking, and it's becoming difficult, and they're almost getting priced out of certain markets. So stay positive. Look under your budget. So in other words, if you're looking up to 200, don't look at houses that are 189.9 or 199 because they're probably going to sell into your budget with multiple offers. But yeah, it's definitely difficult, and stay positive and try not to be discouraged because you'll find the right thing eventually if you keep your foot on the gas.
And I think take anything, like don't have,
Yeah.
if it's ugly, just get in something.
Yeah.
Get the equity going,
Yeah.
so that in 2 years you're not still looking and you can take the equity, even if it's an ugly house you don't like or you wouldn't have chose.
If it's your first home, it's probably not your forever home. So get in there, and then in 5 years, you'll probably have 40 or 30 grand worth of equity that you can pull out, and then and then move on to something else if it's not the right fit for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely look under your budget and stay positive.
Somebody says, do you have a favorite black or white paint?
I love Black Magic by Seco Muse, but I was recently talking with, if anybody goes to the Dartmouth Crossing Kent location, they'll know who I mean by the paint guy. He's taller, gray hair, phenomenal.
Thank God.
He's so awesome. He's been there forever. He said he has a lot of people come back with the Black Magic Seco Muse because there's actually no black tint in that paint. So when you first put it on, it's like a greeny blue color, but it's because you have to put the second layer on and then it's black. But initially you put it on and you're like, I didn't order blue paint. It's not blue. I promise.
What should you do to spruce up a huge laundry room? Accent walls? ? There's an upper and lower cabinets and countertop sink.
Well, I'm jealous of your laundry room, for one. Paint. You can paint the countertop if it's ugly. Google like how to paint a countertop and like how to do the faux epoxies. I think just paint in general.
Yeah, a feature wall would be cool too.
Feature wall.
You did one in poplar. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I will admit
This
it's
one's
cool.
fun.
I was kind of against it. It's cool.
Andrew's against every idea. I don't know what I'm doing until you come in and then he's like, "Oh, okay, you were right."
I live with
My
it.
brain's just constantly going, and I
For
want to.
for your first saw to buy, I guess if you could only buy one, which would be better, a miter, a circular, or a table?
A miter. Because if you don't have any saws, typically you're not going to need a table saw. You're going to be able to do your trim work. You're going to be able to do most furniture with a miter saw, especially like DIY builds. A miter saw, definitely a miter saw.
Is any recommendations on the best place to get vinyl plank flooring in HRM?
I don't know. My favorite one is the one I just put in Taranaki at Kent. But they also have some really good discount, because I'm always thinking budget, discount flooring places in Burnside that usually people don't think about. And there's quite a bit of square foot per bundle. So it'll be like 1,700 square foot here, there. You get a really good price. I don't know the name of it though.
I'll give a few shout outs. So
Okay.
Taylor Flooring is really great.
Yes, I've dealt with them
Skip
too.
and in Clayton Park location on Lacewood is awesome to deal with. They have a really great selection. I've used them a lot for some of my renos. And Wacky's Flooring in the atrium in Dartmouth is really good as well.
They have a beautiful showroom.
Yeah, they have a lot of selection there. And price differences big time, but they always have stuff on sale as well. And generally speaking, you can get some pretty good deals there.
Danica, did you go to a regular bank to get a second mortgage? No. As an entrepreneur.
Shout out Igor.
Shout out to Igor, because the banks were basically like, no. And then Andrew introduced me to Igor, and somehow he worked his magic. He's phenomenal. Just had a baby, and will bend over backwards. Igor is my one and only mortgage guy forever.
And he's got a really strong shoe game.
Does he?
Fun fact.
I've never seen him in
He's a
person because
sneakerhead.
it's always been COVID.
He's a sneakerhead. I
Oh,
hope he's watching. He's probably not, because he has a new baby.
true.
What's his best pair?
He's got like a lot of the classic Nikes and stuff.
The retros.
And his kid does too, which is sick.
Oh, that's awesome. Andrew, why is the market like this for the seventh
Stop hating on
question?
me for the market. It's not my fault. I know the market's frustrating. It's great if you're selling, especially if you're downsizing. We've had some clients lately that are downsizing, and they're just in love with us because of the offers we're bringing them. And most of our buyer clients are feeling the hurt, just like everybody else's.
What are we at for time?
We've been 10 to 9.
Okay, so we're gonna do one of the Craftsman giveaways. So this is going to be for the hedge trimmer, and Mark is going to pull one out of a hat.
Okay, and Nicole Jenkins.
All right.
Nicole
So-
Jenkins, Dartmouth.
So the way we're gonna do this is we're choosing the first person. We're also going to have a second and a third unannounced in case we can't get a hold of Nicole, and then it'll go to the second person.
How does Nicole gonna contact us? Nicole, if you have Instagram,
Send me a message.
send me a message.
Actually, send it to Andrew.
Yeah, send it to me. I don't
Because it will get lost.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I feel really bad. There's, I think, over 500 messages in my request inbox. I want to reply to everybody. I'm doing the labor. It's a lot.
It's tough.
So when I go home and I'm editing videos to get on Instagram and chat with people, I just cannot meet you guys.
Don't feel bad. She's slow at responding to me.
Unless I have an octopus idea.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Andrew, any idea when the market will switch back to a buyer's market?
Buyer's market, I think we're really far off of a buyer's market. I think it might shift a little bit back toward balance, but I think it's going to take at least a year, if not longer than that. And I don't think it's something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to take, months and months and months for that to happen. So if you're a buyer, like I get this question every day, and people are always saying, well, should I just wait until the fall? It's not going to look any different, in my opinion. And you know what? If you ask 10 different realtors, you might get 10 different answers on that, and nobody truly knows where it's going. But I can tell you that I don't expect it to change anytime soon.
This is a funny question.
What's your usual preferred timeline for a flip?
Well, considering this is only my second, tomorrow is the 4-month mark. I think 4 to 5 months is like a solid. Yeah. I also took 3 weeks off during Christmas, which was amazing. So I'd say 4 months. Yeah. 4 months is a good time.
I would say it depends too if you're doing the work yourself or if you're hiring contractors. If you're just project managing and everybody else is doing the work, you can probably get it done quicker.
And I'm doing smaller, lower budget homes like that are under 2,000 square feet. I'm not doing 3,500 square foot homes. So that you also have to take that into consideration. Where are your glasses from and what's the brand? Do we have a brand?
Vogue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what it says. How are you going to see it if you don't have glasses on?
I can see close up.
Vogue.
Anyway, Vogue from Cole Harbor Optometry. Andrew, can you sing for us like you did the basement episode?
Who did that?
I don't know.
Man.
Who did that one?
What do you want me to sing?
I don't know.
You really put me on the spot here. What was I singing earlier? No, but we'll make sure there's more in the Taranaki episodes.
Shocking, the vocals on this guy. I was like, good. It's crazy.
There's definitely friends of mine watching and they're dying at this. I do like to sing. My father really actually sings. He grew up singing gospel music, so I've kind of been around it. But I definitely do not have the pipes that he does.
Well, you have pipes, because I heard it and I was like, was that a joke? You can actually sing.
I'm working on it.
Okay,
maybe that's my real long-term life goal, and I just haven't told anybody yet.
There you go.
There's 2 really good questions here. Someone says, we have stucco ceilings in our home that we really want to remove, but it has asbestos in it. Will this negatively affect the price of our house if we don't remove it?
Not really. If it has asbestos in it and you're not disturbing it, then you're probably fine. But if it has asbestos in it and you're disturbing it, then you should really get a remediation company in there to deal with it. But if it's just there and you're selling your house, no, I wouldn't say that it's really gonna matter.
I think right now, with or without stucco, a house is gonna sell.
Yes, definitely.
Did I already ask this? What was your biggest fear when deciding to take on the first flip?
Financials, because it's just me. So, yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of pressure. I'm still broke. It's just like a good entrepreneur broke, because then you get the money come in and then you dump it into the next house and you dump it into the series and all the things. But definitely the financials, thinking, okay, all of these people are trying to order furniture and I'm telling them all no. I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? 3 or 4 months without building honeycombs and without doing coffee tables and kitchen tables. But I managed.
This is literally how this started. Danica at my place building a table and some other things. We get talking. She says, well, I've always really wanted to flip homes. And I said, well, you should do that. And then 4 months later, she bought a house. Right. That's pretty much how this went.
Literally, well, I went to Dominican with my mom and my 2 girls last year and said, well, we came back from right when COVID happened. And I couldn't build furniture. I was on quarantine. Kent was only open for essentials. Nobody cares about a coffee table because they're trying to keep their lights on because everybody's losing their jobs. So my job was gone basically because nobody wanted orders.
Is the market only hot in HRM, and how far out of the city would you go for a flip?
Good question. Well, we looked at Sackville.
Yeah.
That's not out of HRM, but
That's
it's
in HRM.
I know. But it's
It's
out
also
of
God's country.
it's I'm not hating on Sackville. I just Andrew.
I grew up in Sackville.
Sack Vegas. Sackville and Darkside right here.
Yes. Two worlds colliding.
I think Sackville's far for me because again, I'm constantly coming going with the kids. Right now I'm on my street, which couldn't be any better. And for the winter, I'm really glad that I didn't get the Sackville one. But
Fair.
I would go within half hour. But it makes it hard because I just pop down there sometimes for like an hour. If my mom's in and she's getting groceries, she lives in Porter's Lake, she'll come in. She's like, yeah, like, go down for an hour and a half. I can like trim an entire door in that time.
Yeah.
And it really saves the day.
And in terms of the hot market aspect of that, I'm pretty well connected with agents all over Atlantic Canada especially, and pretty much everywhere in Atlantic Canada is experiencing the same thing that we're experiencing in HRM. Down in the valley, down toward the South Shore, Moncton, Fredericton, everybody I talked to was kind of saying the same spiel that I'm saying.
Yeah, crazy. Is it like that everywhere in Canada?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just, wow.
Yeah.
Let's do a second prize.
Okay.
The Craftsman Whippersnipper. I don't know if that's the professional name, but that's what I put it on. I think that's...
What, whippersnipper?
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Okay. And the leaf blower combo.
That's what we call it here anyway.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Nadine Murphy.
There you go.
All right. So Nadine, write Andrew so that you can actually get in contact with him.
Yeah, I will answer your DMs.
Sorry.
I have like 10 requests and they're spam. You have like thousands.
I can't.
So I'll answer.
I try. Sometimes people will get a reply from me and it's because you were one of the first people at the random time that I was able to answer 10. And then I feel bad for the people who have been waiting.
Fair.
Was it hard to get a second mortgage? I'm going to be fully transparent here because I really try and do that on Instagram. My dad co-signed for my second mortgage because as an entrepreneur, I just started DC Wood. I say just for 4.5 years, but to banks, that's not a healthy or good business that they want to invest in. You really have to prove yourself, which is anyway. So yeah, my dad co-signed. He co-signed for Poplar as well. I hope to maybe by the third one not have him do that. And I do realize that I'm very lucky to have him do that. Not everybody can. But yeah, that's how I got the second mortgage. Because the banks were like, yeah, no way, girlfriend.
What's your thoughts on custom built-ins for closets? Is it worth the time and money for the resale value?
I think for a master, for sure.
It's called a primary bedroom now, but yes.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, so if it's the main bedroom, then yes. Sorry to call you out like that. I forgot we were alive.
We would have edited that out.
Yeah, definitely. My bad. So yeah, if it's the primary bedroom or the main bedroom, then yeah, I probably wouldn't focus on it too much for like the second and third bedroom. But yeah, and there's all kinds of different options too. Like you can build your own with like MDF.
I have a video on that.
Yeah, she has a video. You have a video for everything. At my house, we did like IKEA pack systems, and you're able to customize a lot, and they're relatively cheap for what you can get. And we really liked those, and they were easy to put together because I paid somebody to do it because I can't.
But you have a drill set now, so you should be able to do it.
Yeah, I'll do the next
You can
one.
build decks, so you should be able to put IKEA together.
Yes.
Another person is saying Demo Dad is pretty rad.
Yes.
Demo Dad's gonna have merch.
Yeah.
Guys, that's gonna be his entire retirement gig, is merchandise.
Naughty Pine Rec Room. Paint or no for resale?
Paint.
Man.
And
Yeah.
what's the best way to cover the knots?
With
Okay.
20 coats of paint.
For real. Bin, red can, bin 1, 2, 3 in the red can, and
Can you explain what that is? Because
it's a primer, but it's the only primer I've ever fully loved and trusted for cabinets for high traffic areas. It is almost thinner than water. Like it goes on and your brush like sticks. Go over the knots 4 to 5 times. My mom actually did that, and my cousin in the Taranaki reno, because that was all pine paneling. So they went over like 3 or 4 rounds of the knots and then one big coat.
And now it looks like shiplap, which is hilarious.
I know,
Yeah.
but it looks so good.
They look good.
And then another tip is when the pine boards meet, you're gonna have that black line, because if you paint it white, you're gonna have that black line. Put caulking in there and it'll look so much fresher. And any sort of little like black divot that you can really see in the white.
Okay, I've got 2 questions here. I'm gonna ask this one because it's gonna be for Andrew first, but it's kind of an interesting question. Do you think the interest rates being low right now might screw people over in 5 years when they go to refinance after buying a house for $100,000 over asking?
So not necessarily. So when the bank, forgive me because this is not going to be an exact answer. A mortgage broker would be the one to answer it. But when you're pre-approved at the bank, they actually pre-approve you against like what the posted rate is, and that is something that was called the stress test, and that was brought in years ago. And that was really there to protect the consumer. So in other words, even though you're getting a rate of say 2.5%, actually better now, but say you're getting a rate of 2.5%, you're actually qualified at like the 4% or whatever the posted rate is. And that's kind of where you're qualified for your max, and maybe I'm wrong with that. I'm pretty sure that that's right. So no, I wouldn't worry about it as much. As far as the aspect of being over asking price, really that it doesn't really have a lot of merit on it, because whatever the house sold for is the, whatever the market, whatever somebody's willing to pay for it is what the market value is. But yeah, some stuff I see, I'm a little worried at the pricing. A lot of it I think will hold okay. But every now and then I see some sales that I'm kind of like, whoa, that's a scary price. But it all depends on what their situation is. Maybe somebody bid that up $200,000 over asking because it's the forever home and they're going to live there for 30 years and they're not worried about it value-wise because it'll be paid off by the time they sell it anyway. So every case is so dependent. There's so many variables.
If the only way to make your small bathroom bigger is by taking space from the master closet, will that hurt for resale?
I would say as long as there's still a decent sized closet there, no. And
They mean the primary closet.
Yes. So yeah, the primary closet. So if the closet in that bedroom is big enough, then I think it's okay. And honestly, you can get pretty creative with shelving units and stuff in a small closet. Now you can double up the hanging bars, you can do shelving, pack systems from IKEA. The list kind of goes on and on. So I think as long as there's enough space, it'll be okay.
A tip too with that is, I don't have a video on this yet, how to build a niche in your bathroom, because you can actually not take from the closet, but build in between the studs, some shelving.
Yeah.
You can put doors on them, so you sort of have like secret compartments that don't actually lead into the other room.
Video on the way.
Video coming soon.
In 2022.
Patio doors with blinds integrated inside, worth the extra cash?
I have them. I think they're cool. Well,
I don't even know what that is.
Not on my patio. So you can get doors now that have there's glass and then there's like a little thing that you slide and that has like a blind inside the glass.
Oh.
It's pretty cool. I don't have it on my patio door, but I have it on my side door, my front door, and it's kind of cool.
I feel like it's the area.
Yeah. Depends.
Like it's like me putting marble on poplar. You're not gonna get it back.
Correct.
But if you put it in I don't even like using the word higher end, but like a bigger budget area, you'll get it back.
Do you
Look at me
think
being an agent.
do you think you will ever tackle adding a laneway house / secondary suite?
I would love to. Not where I am right now, but possibly in the home that I one day have dream about building, for sure.
What's a laneway house?
So I don't know if I'm gonna say this right, but HRM just passed the secondary dwelling, so you can have basically a garage. Like I could turn my wood shop into a secondary suite. You could have like a tiny home back there, or
I don't know all the stipulations of it, honestly. I haven't really seen a lot of the regulations, but HRM passed the backyard suite.
You can have a backyard tiny home.
Yeah, so you can kind of turn your garage into like a second suite. It's supposed to be to increase density, for people's parents and other relatives.
Crazy.
but I don't know the regulations behind it, to be honest.
I don't think I'd want anybody renting back there that I didn't know. So maybe if Demo Dad and Mom want to move to my backyard. All right. Do we have any more questions coming in? Because I think we're at just about an hour.
No.
Nope.
No. Last call. Last call.
Last call for questions. It's the kitchen party. Last call.
Should have brought a beer.
Oh, we should have.
We could
I
have.
should have brought my Coors.
Me and Scott drank the last ones in there last week. There was 2 in the fridge that we brought.
Darn.
Yeah.
Next time. You might get different answers. We are going to draw for the Craftsman tool set, which is the big one. The drill combo. So you have your impact and your regular drill, your flashlight, your multi-tool, your recip, and your circular saw.
Man, put me in, Mark. It's legit.
Do you really want me to put you in, Andrew?
No.
Okay. Caitlin Smith.
And how do you spell that? Because I feel like that's a really, really common name. And where did they come from?
Dartmouth.
Dartmouth.
Yeah, Caitlin Smith. It's just it's spelled in the common way.
No, how's Caitlin
Oh,
spelled?
Kaitlyn.
Okay.
Okay. Caitlin Smith, you won the big one.
Message me to reclaim your prize.
Sweet. And Craftsman is going to just mail them out to you directly. So we'll get the contact
Nice.
email and then they'll have your address and they'll ship you off your goodies.
Wait, somebody says wait. Okay, Kayla Clancy says wait. What is it, Kayla? Thanks for the live. Looking forward to the next one.
Thanks, Kayla.
Thanks,
Wait,
Kayla.
wait. What was the most satisfying part of the reno?
I think exterior is, as much as I love every room and Mark makes fun of me because I get so excited, I think
Yeah,
the
you do.
exterior, because everybody on the street can see it, love it, and appreciate it. The amount of neighbors that came to me after Taranaki and was like, it's so cool to see the love you put back into this home. Same with Poplar. I've had
Yeah.
people, thank you for taking the bushes down. The roof looks phenomenal. I'm so happy that, you know, we can see the house now, and it brings up everybody's value. Because nobody knew what these houses looked like on the inside when it was someone's private home, but we all knew what it looked like on the outside. So I definitely think exterior is probably my most rewarding.
Nice.
Yo, Adam Bowe says, why is Mark Sawatsky so ruggedly handsome?
Hard to say. I don't actually believe that's a question, but I'll take your word for it. You just got a really
that's
sexy
a question
new
for
haircut, too.
Andrew.
Yeah, that's a question for me, and I can
Sing
tell you
about
that
it.
Mark got a new haircut, and man, he looks great.
Mark, you should come say hi.
Oh, okay, somebody says, oh, should I show my haircut?
It's Andrew's.
I'll show my haircut on the next live.
Right before this, we went live. Andrew said, "I really like your haircut." He's, thanks. What do you say? It's my brand, or I'm on brand.
It's
for his brand.
It's for his brand.
Yeah, it's for my brand.
Looking fresh. All right, we're all out of questions. We're done.
Okay.
We have our 3 winners. We have our secondary and third winners in case we can't get a hold of the first one.
Yeah. So if you want a prize, just message me on Instagram or text me 902-471-0795.
I can't believe you just did that to YouTube.
I don't care.
I had my number out there and I had to take it off.
Nobody's gonna message me unless they won.
Yeah, true. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Next
you.
Thursday we have episode 4. Mark is ready. He's pumped.
He's excited for it.
Yep. And he's gonna try and turn it off before it gets awkward.
There's no stopping it.
That's impossible.
It's okay.
Wait, are you sure we want to stop? Yes.
Yes.